is the Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast for this week's American Express, bringing you best bets, stories, winners, and DFS blood, sweat, and tears, and everything in between. As always, I'm joined by everybody's favorite Korean, Kenneth motherfucking Kim. What's up, Kenneth?
What's up, man? Pretty solid start to the year. A pretty fun tournament to watch with the wind. It wasn't an extreme birdie fest. I thought it was enjoyable to watch with the prime time going. It was great.
Yeah, I wrote my inaugural Sports Illustrated. It's kind of crazy. I grew up looking at models in the Sports Illustrated, dreaming of one day being in there. And now I am, but with my own models. And it's kind of funny, how that all works out.
First time if you ever get into a big publication, it's pretty fucking money. I remember, was it 2016 and 2017? I was wrote for USA Today back when they were, I don't even know if they're still around. But we did that, and we did the majors preview. So I was so for every major, I was on the USA Today.
Incredible
paper. Pretty awesome feeling, right? I mean,
yeah,
you your ass off and doing what you do, and then finally getting the recognition to get into a big time publication. I know SI isn't what it used to be, but it's still fucking huge, right?
It's still so Sports Illustrated, man. Like anyone you tell still knows exactly what's going on there. I guess the winning score at -16, the weather pulled through quite nicely. I also had my Nick Taylor, take it to the bank top 20 at +185 for that article and that panel. So that was nice. And we cashed Chris Goddard up live. Dropped that in the Model Maniac Patreon. Jump on that on the link below. We went to him live between rounds 2 and 3. We bet him to win round 3. He finished second. We cashed that each way. And then on Sunday, baby, Chris Goddard up. Kenny, I've also bet him 65-1 to win the Open Championship at DraftKings. Fuck it. I think that is the best number out there when it comes to other outrights. I think there's a 50-1 pretty much everywhere else for him. 65 seems like a fantastic number. This guy's obviously very good at playing golf in the wind. Didn't he move from Oklahoma to Florida?
Yes.
In the break?
Living in Oklahoma, I've played golf in Oklahoma before. It can get a bit breezy.
Midwest.
Oklahoma. So more than likely, he's probably used to that a little bit, then moved to Florida. He actually said he moved to Florida because he was going to these Hawaiian tournaments, and he was practicing in 42-degree weather, right?
Yeah.
You don't get the real feel of the game. I mean, the game changes so much when you're playing 40-degree weather compared to 90-degree weather. Right? I mean, the ball flies farther. You get you don't get the correct distances when it's that cold.
Your body feels different. Stiffer, less fluid.
Oh, he made the move to Florida in the off season. It looked like it worked for Hawaii, right? It looked like it worked pretty good thought process by Chris Goddard. Smart guy, I guess. 3 wins in 45 events. It's a pretty solid start to the PGA Tour career.
Yeah, I think I saw Kyle Porter mention something about the 3 wins in the last 3 years or something. Players with that many wins, and Nick Taylor's one of them. Obviously, I think Sepp and a couple big names. Scotty obviously way up there, but he was one of the few names that showed up there. Was old Chris Goddard up. So
there was only 4 golfers that have won each of the last 3 years. It's Rory, Scotty, Keegan, and Goddard. That's
Goddard
it.
Up. Incredible.
Goddard sort of reminds me of he's like the American Sepp Straka. You don't really expect too much from him, but he just goes out and wins, right? You don't necessarily think that he's one of the best in the world, but when you see his results, he's one of the best in the world, right? Right? He gives me that Sepp Straka vibe. In that thing where you just look at Sepp and you're like, I mean, this guy doesn't feel like he's one of the best players, but consistently wins. So, yeah.
And cashes in good when they're in contention. Now, he didn't look at all flustered compared to Davis Riley. Holy cow, was that a meltdown? So, I mean, a lot of things went right for him to come through. Patrick Rogers in 3rd place. I think if he had 5 inches worth of, forgiveness to give himself, he's 5 under par
Inches could be a big
more.
deal.
Like he went from
It's huge.
You go from small to really big.
Really big, really fun.
Really
5
big.
inches makes a difference.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get that doctor. I told you guys about that doctor that we're doing. We're doing the penis enlargement center.
You still in on that?
We're still doing it. I'm still trying to convince the doctor. I'm trying to convince the doc.
What you hung up on, Kenny?
Give me like an extra 3 or 4 inches for I'll take like a point off the price. It's going to be like a, $2 million job, 1.5, something like that. So, I'll take a percentage off, take 15K off, be like, hook an Asian brother up.
Just a little bit.
He has a VIP suite that we're building for this. Like, supposedly he's like one of the best known penis enlargement doctors, like, in the world.
What is his name? It's Dr. Dick? Or
I forget. It starts with a T. Everyone calls him Dr. T, I think. I don't know. I forget. But like, if you go to YouTube and search the Dick Doctor.
The Dick Doctor, yes.
That's him. He has like a huge YouTube following. So he gets all these like clients from like small dick countries, like South Korea, like Dubai and shit like that. All the tiny dick countries, all the rich people there, they fly over to DC, stay in DC, and they get the work done in his center. And we're building that center. And of course, there's a VIP special off like little suite that, all marble, beautiful glass columns, stuff like that. It looks really ritzy and private. It's in like a cut, so people don't know. There's like a back entrance, something you don't want to let everybody know. Me, I don't give a fuck. If you hook me up, I'd swing it around the show. I'd helicopter dick in the show, and we just get fucking demonetized like immediately. Is what I would do. But yeah. So looking forward. There also met this chick this weekend. So I'm drinking pineapple juice. Went to this restaurant on Saturday. Michelin star restaurant, Sushi Nakazawa in DC. It's a beautiful restaurant. It was like a $2,800 dinner for 4 people. There's no menu. You just get 20 pieces of nigiri. All right, the freshest fish they catch that day. Unbelievable service. But it was this chick. I talked to her, and we were both drunk, and we ended up going back to her place in DC. It was very nice, and she's very, very nice. She enjoys fellatio. So I felt sort of bad. Because like that day I was eating like, raw fish. I think for lunch I had asparagus. So like obviously like down there, it probably did not taste very well. So for her, I think I'm going to see her tonight, drinking a little pineapple juice to help her out.
Flush her out.
To throw her a bone this evening. So there you go. If you ever want to, like, if you're with a significant other and you're angry at her and you're getting your dick sucked later that night, eat asparagus. If you love her and you want to give her a treat and you don't want to be a dick, drink pineapple juice.
There we go.
This show is sponsored by Minute Maid.
Minute Maid. Get your Maid minutes now so that you can pine nut with flavor.
What?
Anyway, back to Patrick Rodgers finishing 3rd and barely missing like 5 putts on the back 9.
Mm-hmm.
He was balling out, Kenny. And that is now 3 top 10s for Patrick Rodgers in his last 4 starts. So the guy's trending pretty hard. We had backdoor Bob show up, T4. No one backdoors harder than, like, Bobby Mack is like Mr. Backdoor now. If you are looking to add some stuff live, he's usually the guy that kind of just makes the cut and then shows up T4.
Well, you heard what happened. He snapped his putter in half on the second round on 17. Missed the 3-foot par putt on 18 for bogey. That sort of cost him a little bit. Could have been a lot closer heading into it. But I did like what he said after the round where, he realizes that cost him. And he has to think twice about his emotions and how he presents himself on the course. It's a very good train of thought for a younger guy. I mean, the guy's still, 25? 26? He's a young kid. And so him learning that and saying that out
29 and a
loud.
half. 29
up?
years old. He's
Is he
29.
You see, he's got the baby face.
Yeah,
he's
he
got the
does.
baby. But I know you won your outright. I hit a couple of each ways. I hit Berger 8 places. I hit Hodges 8 places, which was nice. It was chopped a little bit because both Hall and Riley birdied 18. If they didn't, I would have gotten the full payment on both. But it still was a positive week on the betting standpoint. I won like 3 in this. Right? Right.
Yeah.
Better than losing, right? Better than fucking losing. So that was nice. And then I got skunked in DFS. But that's gonna happen with the 3 lineups. Like the way I think about it when it comes to DFS, if you're gonna go from 150 lineups to 3, if you can get like 8 weeks of the year where you got sort of a sweat, not win, but you got a sweat going into Sunday. That's pretty solid. You win 1 or 2 of those, you're good to go, right, for the year. You win 1, you're good to go for the year, right?
Yeah.
You win 1. And so, but the thing is, like, there's 44 events. So if you have a sweat in 8, like 35 events, you're going to go in debt.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like 30 events, you're going to go in debt. That's just what's going to happen when you only make 3 lineups. But when those lineups hit, because they're in larger dollar single entries, they're more likely to win. Like I have, like last year, I had 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 8th, and 12th in GPPs. You go a year with those 5 results right there, and you lose every other week. You're still going to come up on top because that's why I play cash. Also, I lost in cash. Also, but you hit 50 to 60%. If you're above 50%, that's half the money coming back of your losses. So, so you play based on your bankroll and how much you can spend and how the strategy you want to go about when it comes to DFS. And this week, Sony didn't work out. Hopefully, we do something for the Annex.
Yeah, it's
kind of how. The good thing is we got a little bit of money put into our underdog account by our friend, Mr. Pat Mayo. And so I actually hit like a $500 winner. So overall, it was a winning week. So it works out.
Let's go. I had something I wanted to say there about, bankroll management, knowing your lane. What I've typically done, Kenny, is kind of go 50% week-long DFS, 50% showdown DFS, where that's, for me, it's the wrong combination. I need to be doing like 20% full week DFS and then 20% for every day of showdown, because I feel like the way my models work and how I kind of find my groove is between these round by round things, round 3 leaders, round 2 leaders, showdown, all that kind of stuff. So knowing where you are better at betting, at DFS, at fantasy, and investing the majority of your funds into areas that will return you more dollars is something that you need to consider. And if you don't know what those are, you're not taking this shit seriously enough, because you need to record where you are going right and where you're going wrong with regards to DFS and betting. That's how you make adjustments and how you win long term, right? So just some dad knowledge there for you guys from the guy wearing a $100 bill shirt for the first time in forever. So kind of just feeling frisky, feeling like sharing some knowledge with you guys. So good stuff there. I do want to mention Harry Hall still hasn't had an official top 5 in a normal field event since the 2023 Charles Schwab Championship Challenge. T6 last week. He's now had 3 top 6s, hasn't had a top 5. One of the leading top 20 bets that you can make in, the space, but just started round 4 inside the top 5. Couldn't. He's such a good putter. On Sundays, it disappears, right, Kenny? So this is what I was chatting to Darbo about when it comes to binary putting. It's either in or it's not. And Harry Hall was not in the hole often. So it'll be interesting to see if he can find his way into the mix. Daniel Berger, Kenny, nice play there by you. I think he could potentially sneak through the East Coast swing or the West Coast, one of the two, with the W.
Yeah, Florida's good for him. I bet him today, but then I cashed him out. I
Oh,
think.
good.
I don't remember. I cashed a couple people out this morning. I'm going to leave myself a little bit of space. We'll talk about the betting strategy when we get to this week's Amex, because there
Cool.
is a little bit of strategy involved when it comes down to it. A
But
couple
before
other
you guys do that, go ahead and comment below who you think is going to win this week. The winner will be getting a free month of Model Maniac Patreon subscription for you guys. No winner last week for Chris Goddard up. 65-1. That'll happen every now and then. And you guys are also slacking on the comments down there. Let's be honest. So get your shit together, people. Let's hit the like. Let's hit the subscribe. Let's pop those comments in there. Who's going to win this week? Get you guys out there. I'm going to find, if there's 2 winners, I will give you 2 free subscribers. So since we never had a winner last week, you can, if someone's commented Scotty Scheffler already, you can be the second person to comment. If you are the third person, it is voided. We can see the timestamps. Only 2 names per suggestion. So go ahead and do that. You can get yourself 2 Model Maniac Patreon free months over there. So Kenny, continue with where you were going.
So, we had Koepka. It was official. He's back. He will be playing the Farmers next week. So he'll be back. Of course, Bryson basically has all the leverage, the live talk, whatever. I don't think it's that big of a news. But we will have Koepka back coming up here this week. Also, Ben On left to go to live. I can't really blame him. Mid-30s, new family, never won on the PGA Tour. If they're going to give you 10 figures or 8 figures, this is the time for him to take it, right? I mean, so I don't think it's that. I mean, and they get the Korean team, and honestly, I might watch a little bit more just to see the full Korean squad go out there and see how they do. Again, I don't think Liv is going to be taking over America anytime soon, but the international stuff that they do, I think is good. And I think it's going to help the game overall. And it's also going to lead to them not dissolving because I think, the success they have internationally is going to keep on growing. That's why they're, purchasing all these international players. It makes a lot of sense. And,
know your lane.
Gives me, as a Korean-born man, a good reason to go and watch a little bit more of Liv, and I will, just because of the all-Korean team. And it's not Kevin Na as the leader. Kevin Na, the thing about Kevin Na is he's not that well-liked by Korean people.
But in general, I would say.
And so, it really didn't help their squad. He went through some controversy in a Korean TV show where they showed, it was like a Korean cribs, right? And his house is fucking ridiculous in Vegas. And a lot of people in Korea don't take too kindly to that, sort of like showing off. And it didn't go across well. He also reneged on a marriage engagement to like a pretty well-known, like famous family, and that does not fly either. So he is not that popular in Korea. And so I think that's one of the reasons why he was sort of getting the boot, because they want to get that Korean market. And Benny is a lot more popular golfer in the Korean household. Won the U.S. Amateur, won events in Europe. I think he's won an event in Korea in the last couple of years.
Yeah. 2 years ago, I think he beat Tom Kim.
So I think it was probably the smart move by Liv to go and make him the captain.
Yeah. I mean, practically it makes sense. Theoretically, it makes sense. I'd say practically it's not going to pan out because there's a full South African team out there and I don't give a shit. Like, it's got some of my heroes. It's got Louis on it.
Do you have friends in South Africa still that you talk to? Do they pay attention?
I don't know. I don't think no one's ever spoken to me from. I mean, also granted, my whole life is now here, so it's minimal interactions. But
my uncle, during Christmas and stuff, was talking about Liv, and then he gave me a call when Ben, decided to join, and he's a golfer, doesn't watch much golf, and he asked me where he can watch Liv. So, hey, this is one fucking person, my uncle. But he didn't really watch before, and then he called me and asked because he wants to watch now. So,
Did you tell him there's like 10 other Koreans on the PGA Tour where you can, or is he
but
just
this
a
is like
Ben-on
they
guy?
actually play like a team competition.
Okay.
So he's actually looking forward to that, seeing if the Korean team can do well.
Okay. Yeah. We'll see what happens there. For me, can add anyone, just doesn't move the needle, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, the United States is not going to.
Yeah.
We already talked about it.
Yeah. Yep. So not gonna wrap around there. Dubai, Shane Lowry.
Oh God.
I shout out to Shane. I give him the collision avoidance award. You know, like the sensors when you're driving behind a car and it auto brakes for you. Shane Lowry is basically that when he's trying to win a golf tournament, because he made a double bogey on the final hole to miss the playoff. All he needed to do was make a bogey, and then or did he have to? Whatever. I think he lost by 2. Par to win. Whatever.
He was in the greenside bunker in 2.
Yeah.
And then hit the bunker shot
through the fairway into the water. Yeah. He is literally. Am I lagging?
And it was no, not by me, but it was hilarious that the day before he was talking about how hanging out with Rory, can help him win. He sees what Rory does all the time, and it helps him, but didn't fucking help him this week. That's what's fun.
You finished T3 with Rory together, though, so congrats to them. They can hang out together on the leaderboard. I honestly think there is a Shane Lowry strokes gained Rory, where if he's playing with Rory in particular, I mean, that Pebble Beach result that he had, I think he played with Rory like 3 of the 4 rounds out there. Anytime he's playing with Rory, he dominates. So we'll see what he gets up to. To me, just not a serious, like compared to Chris Gotterup with Shane Lowry, like in contention, you are constantly waiting for him to do something like that. Didn't he like chip into the water as well at RBC Heritage a couple years ago when he was in the mix? So he just seems to find himself doing some silly stuff, whereas there are some guys that are just made for the moment. So it was really fun to watch old Gotterup do that. Any other KFT situations? I think I saw there's a possibility that Blades Brown has got a sponsor's invite to the Amex, and he's currently playing in the Bahamas. So they're going to give him a private jet to get from the Bahamas, which ends on Wednesday, so he can tee off on Thursday. And there was somebody else, I think Hayden Springer is the guy that also is first alternate for the Amex, which you'll likely get in. Someone will withdraw. He's also playing in Bahamas, but can't get a ticket with an airplane back in time. So maybe he can catch a ride with old Blades in a private jet.
17, imagine that.
18
He's like 17-year-old kid getting the private jet from the Bahamas to California. That's pretty money.
It just shows you how elitist the sport is, and what you can get up to. And it also shows you how wide open it is when it comes to age, Kenny. We had Vijay Singh make the cut at the RBC Heritage after your boy Dan Rappaport and others were talking shit about old Vijay getting using his lifetime.
Did we talk about that last week? I don't remember.
Yes, we did. We spoke about it, but just recapping what actually happened, because he made the cut. So shout out to Vijay. And I think these kind of courses where it's kind of positional, where you can just use his experience, this is Gucci Mama for him. So Cognizant Classics, things like that will be fun to see what old Singh can get up to over there. Anything else, Kenny, that you want to chat about before we kind of dive into this week's bets for the American Express?
Oh, let's get into the course. Let's get into the course. The PGA Tour moves to California this week. It's for the old Bob Hope Classic, right? It's now called the Amex, played in 3 different courses. The Jack Nicklaus Tournament course at PGA West, 1 round there. La Quinta Country Club, 1 round there. And the Stadium course at PGA West, 2 rounds if the golfers make the cut. This tournament, unconventional, of course. All golfers will play each course once the first 3 days. And then there will be a cut on Saturday. The cut rule is still top 65 in ties. The remaining golfers will battle it out Sunday at the Stadium course to find a winner. Because of this, golfers in your lineups that missed the cut will have less total effect, on your DraftKings score than usual. Having as many golfers to make the cut as possible is still super important. But you can get away with missed cuts and still possibly cash, especially in cash games. You'd be a little bit more aggressive in double ups, I think, in my opinion, in double ups and in 50-50s and stuff like that. Because again, we're seeing like a top heavy type board. Again, like 9,000 and up. Those guys are like the proven guys, right? Everything 8,000, 9,000. Now the win equity goes down a little bit. So personally, for my cash, I have 2 guys above the 9K, and I was trying to get 3. I just couldn't. I haven't found a way to maneuver it. It might change. We'll see. But I have my cornerstones for the week already. This event is a pro-am. So the course and pin locations won't be set up too difficult, except on Sunday at the stadium course. The pro-am ends on Saturday. So they're gonna, probably move the tee boxes back, make the pin locations a bit more challenging for the pros on Sunday. Golfers are gonna need to, golfers are gonna need patience because long rounds are the norm here, like 6-hour rounds, due to the amateur playing partners. Now, the difference between La Quinta and Nicholas pretty minuscule. These 2 courses are routinely in the top 10 easiest on tour, year in and year out. Stadium course, a little bit more difficult, but it's not like crazy difficult. Like year in and year out, it's inside the top 20 easiest courses. There's just more chances of a blow-up hole. Doubles are something that you'll see on a peak dye type of course, on it with water, right? That's what you're going to see sometimes on those courses. It doesn't mean like the course is overly difficult. It just means if you miss in a certain area, double comes into play. It's pretty tough to get doubles. You really have to play the course pretty bad at La Quinta and the other course, the tournament course, to find yourself in double or triple situations. So that's the one difference about those 2 courses. Now, when you play Showdown and first round leader, something to think about is what courses they're playing. The first round leader coming from the stadium course would probably be unlikely. Now, a lot of books are now doing first round leader per course. So if your book does that, then you don't really get the advantage. But if your book does first round leaders based on the whole event, then you could basically cut a third of the field off, right? And then you could cut like even more of the field off to play in the afternoon, because the majority of first round leaders are in the morning when the conditions are pristine. So just something to think about when you do first round leaders and stuff like that, depending on what odds your books give you, whether it's by course or by event. A couple of tidbits before we get into like the main meat of the 3 courses. The tournament is known for a high amount of holeouts, like shots made from anywhere off the green. Like since 2012, there've been like 800 holeouts here. 15 of the last 17 winners here played in at least one of the 2 Hawaiian events prior to their win. Now, there was only one this year. So, it's something to think about. So 15 of the last 17 played in Hawaii, winners. 11 of the last 13 played this event before. And 10 of the last 14 had a top 15 at this event before. So, of course, history, it makes sense. I'm not really sure how sticky it is, but I would expect it to be. It's not. It changes.
It's like C tier. I wouldn't say it's in the same tier as Sony. It's
one thing I would say is if you look at like AT&T or the Pebble Beach and this, if they play well in those 2 events, those are the 2 main big pro-ams. That might be something to look at when you're looking at like finishes and stuff like that. Now, here's the thing. There's been a lot of long shots here. I mean, Sepp and Rom were the 2 non-long shots, but other than them, it's been like long shot city here. Now, it's a little bit different this year because the cores, the strength of field is probably stronger than it's ever been, right? So you got to play that narrative with a little grain of salt. The way I went about it is I went, 3 big dogs and then a whole bunch of fucking long shots. So you got sort of both bases covered with, of course, the placements that I use for each ways. Now let's get to
50, and then the rest are all 100 to 1 and beyond.
Basically, yes. So like right now I have like I think a 25, 35, 60, and then the rest are 100. Something like that. We'll go to it when we look over the betting segment here next. But the Jack Nicklaus tournament course at PGA West, 7,200 yard par 72, 4 par 3s, 4 par 5s, 10 par 4s. All the par 5s reachable. The course is hosted like PGA Tour qualifying, and someone shot like a 59 there before. So you can definitely go low here. Not very difficult course. Second easiest course on tour, like between like second and 10 every year is what you're getting when it comes to the easiest courses. Like even like it was like the 11th easiest course on tour like a few years ago, and the weather was horrible. Like it was rainy and windy. It was still the 11th easiest course on tour. The fairways are going to be average to large in width, many bunkers and water and play off the tee. The rough is probably not going to be thick because it's a pro-am. Tour officials will always try and set up pro-ams a little bit easier so you don't get like 6.5-hour rounds. The greens are undulating, multi-tiered, and on the large side with the bunkers and water surrounding most greens. Like the other two courses, the greens will be Bermuda grass with a STIP meter rating of around 11. La Quinta, 7,000-yard par 72, 4 par 3s, 4 par 5s. Regular rotation on this tournament for years. Super easy course. Fairways are tree line and average at best in width. Bunkers, water, and local vegetation are in play for wayward drives off the tee. The greens are average in size with trouble surrounding them. Now, the stadium course is the main course you want to think about because they are playing 2 rounds there. It's the stadium course at PGS, a bit more difficult, of course, compared to the other two, but I wouldn't call it overly difficult. It's been somewhere between like the 10th and 20th easy courses on tour in the last, 10 to 15 years. It was actually pretty funny when this course first started on the PGA Tour. It was like 1987. The golfers bitched and complained so hard that they took it off the rotation. Because they said it was too difficult back in 1987. Not anymore. Right. So it's back. It's not playing that hard. I mean, back then it was just all wide open courses on the PGA Tour. Usually there weren't that many like tighter key die type, target golf courses back then. Golfers were sort of, what's the word I'm looking for there? What's the shit can't
being pussified, snowflakes,
whatever. Whatever it was. They tend to bitch a lot about stuff they shouldn't bitch about. So they came back in 2016. Of course, it's not that big of a problem. Golfers play these target golf Pete Dye courses all the time. It's around a 7,200-yard course, 4 par 5s, 4 par 3s. Par 5s are much longer, much more difficult than the other two courses. They've been some of the most difficult to reach into on tour. The fairways are average in size and gets narrow near the landing areas. The rough is light. The golfers are going to have to deal with bunkers and a lot of water in play on wayward drives and approaches. If golfers miss wildly off the tee, they're going to, they need to avoid the water because there's plenty of water and bunkers. They'll also have to deal with dormant grass, which will be similar to rough, but it'll be less lush and a bit more patchy. The greens are small, trouble all over the place. Island greens, 200-yard carries over water on par 3s, huge bunkers. The last 3 holes on the course are pretty tough. The bunkers on 16 make it hard. The island green on 17, it's called Alcatraz. A tough par 4 with water on 18. The golfers are going to have to hit their spots, especially on those last 3 holes.
Yeah, we've seen Taylor Montgomery come apart on that final Alcatraz. Like if you gotta hit a green and you can't bail out anywhere, you got to nut up or hit it in the water, baby. So that's what's going on there. Kenny, thanks for asking me what I'm expecting from golfers this week, like you usually do. I'll show you guys my screen and go from there. So while Kenny was chatting about the stadium course, I had up the micro model. You can find all of the stuff at the Model Maniac Patreon, link in the description below. Here is Scotty Scheffler. We get our first official Scotty Scheffler micro model screenshot. So obviously checking out as the best ranked golfer. His driving at this golf course is going to find himself kind of eclipsing over 300 yards for the most part. Like Kenny said, there's a couple holes, 10, 7, 12, that they're not going to be hitting as far off the tee because you got to lay up. This course is kind of forced layups with some water and things like that. This is only the micro model for the stadium course. There's no Nicholas or La Quinta for this because I don't have the data. I don't know how to kind of model that course. We'll see. I'm also being a little bit lazy. So that's what's cooking over there. What I'm also looking for is a couple boxes this week, Kenny. We didn't do any box checking last week, but we're going to check 6 boxes this week. The first box we're going to be checking at this golf course is easy scoring at venues that are under, with the scoring average of around 1.5 under par or below. So easier than 1.5 under par is easy scoring. We can expect that pretty much on all 3 courses this week. So Scotty Scheffler, Johnny Kiefer, Daniel Berger, Russell Henley, and Alex Noren make up the top 5, with Neil Shipley also gaining the same amount as the other 2 there. So those are your top 6 for easy scoring. As you can see, I've color-coded the guys. You're looking for pink. That's all 6 boxes checked. Shout out Scotty Scheffler. Obviously makes a ton of sense there. Then we're going to go to the micro model rank, which is basically the course fit for this week. Obviously, we've got Scotty Scheffler, numero uno, Sepp Straka, Russell Henley, Justin Rose, and Kevin Yu. 2 $7,000 options for the micro model course fit popping up quite quickly. So those 2 will be checked over there. Next up, we're going to take a look at some recent form. We're going to take a look at the last 12, 8, 6, and 4 months of strokes gained for these golfers. Who's played well recently? Who's played well over the last 12 months as well? Shout out Scotty Scheffler again. Surprise, surprise. By a landslide as well. 3.5 is just so crazy.
That's a
Then
huge
Russell Henley,
number.
Huge number. Like, look at the difference. 1.5 strokes between Russell Henley and the next person is all the way down here to like fucking Max McGreevy. Like Russell Henley is to Scotty Scheffler, Max McGreevy as what Russell, whatever, however that gets said. Strokes gained over the last little while. Scotty, Henley, Griffin, Bobby Mack, Matt Fitzpatrick. I love this week as well. I love in general for 2025, by the way. So there's some strokes gained for you guys over there. Now you can go course history or you can do best finish at this venue. I prefer to have a little more of a balance. So kind of seeing who has continually played well at this golf course. Alex Smalley, in his last 4 appearances, he leads total strokes gained at the Amex Stadium course, that course they only play twice if you make the cut. He leads the field in that, but he's only got no top 10s to show for it over the last 4. So that's the fun part about strokes gained, is it can show you consistency, or it can show you guys like Sam Burns, who's missed a cut and then had a 6th place as well, things like that. So I think Sepp Straka's in here as well with some poor cut making in the past. Then we're going to filter by total finishing position. If we take win percentage, top 5, top 10, top 20, top 30, top 40, and made cut percentages, add them all together, these are your best golf. So basically overall with upside, with safety, these are the percentages I'm going to kick out for you. Scotty Scheffler, number 1, Russell Henley, Sepp Straka, Robert McIntyre, Ben Griffin. To kind of throw a couple interesting names from the Korn Ferry Tour out there, obviously these are finish rates on the KFT. They're not weighted down or watered down to represent a more difficult PGA Tour. But basically, it tells you what they got up to on the KFT anyway. And Chandler Blanchet and Johnny Kiefer both check in pretty quickly when it comes to overall upside on the KFT. That's that situation. And then in case someone kept finishing 21st in all these different boxes, I never got a chance to highlight them. I made sure that we incorporating guys that are top 20 in the model for overall, which includes every single box that we've just kind of gone through here. Scotty Scheffler, Russell Henley, Sepp Straka, Ludwig Oberg shows up, and Ben Griffin over there. So kind of a lot going on for you guys, but these are boxes that we need to check. So these are important things that I'm looking for this week. That's what we're kind of going through. And then, Kenny, to kind of mention to you how volatile this golf course is and this event in general. When I'm taking betting to win $100 in every single betting market over the last little while, we take a look at the American Express. JT Poston is the best bet you could have made. A top 20 JT Poston at this golf course would have cashed the last 3 times he's played of the 6 that he has in the system. If you notice over here, John Rahm, Xander, JT, they're all sitting at 200. If you click on these, it means they've only played twice. So JT Poston is the only bet at this golf course to have cashed at least 3 times since showing up here in the last 6 years. If we go over to the Sony, you can kind of see how more predictive this kind of venue is. Here are guys, we got 4. Russell Henley, Nick Taylor, Keegan Bradley, and Nick Taylor again, all grade out better than 200 plus. Russell Henley's cashed 4 of the last 6 at the Sony, whereas no one here has really kind of cashed that side of things. So thought that was an interesting way to kind of see how predictive a golf course can be over time from a betting standpoint. So we will be going right into the betting segment, Jan. I'll lead you right off. We can go to FanDuel and find Nick Taylor at plus 270. You're gonna eat the dead heat rules over there. But sorry, not Nick Taylor, JT Poston, like I just showed you on the screen, the best bet at this golf course for the last 6 years. JT Poston, he's cashed that bad boy at least 3 times in a row,
The top
entering
20?
the top 20. Yep, plus 290. You can find it plus 210, plus 220 at books that pay ties in full. How I kind of go about figuring out if you want to go ties in full or take on the dead heats with better odds. You take the odds of the bet that's tied paid in full. You take the first 2 numbers and you times them by 3. So, for instance, the ties paid in full is plus 220 for this bet. You take plus 220 and you add the 20 on there 3 times. So 60 plus 220 is plus 280. If you get to a very close number that is paying out the dead heats, the plus 290, it kind of checks out. So that's a good way to kind of just do a quick rule of thumb on how to know if you're getting some good value in the dead heat market or ties paid in full. So that's basically, if you're always concerned, just go ties paid in full. But because I'm kind of limiting how much I'm getting exposed out there early in the season, I'm taking on the longer odds with dead heats to kind of limit how much money I have floating out there right now. Woo! That's me done talking for a little while. Kenny Kim, hit us with your Kickback Golf outright betting card for this week's American Express Yourself.
So I'm going Ben Griffith, 19-1 win only. I'm going Ben Griffith. I know I talked about his wife and the worries that I had in the previous show. Of course, we've talked about that. And last week was actually his worst combined performance with his putter and iron in his last 25 events. Now,
Wow.
he still finished 19th. So this can go 2 different ways. This could be like the beginning of his downfall, like I talked about. Or he's still top 20 with his worst iron and putting performance
C
in almost
game.
a year. Yeah. I'm going that route on this one. I'm going that route, but it could go the other way. We'll see. I still haven't made up my mind about the wife yet. But I'm going to go the other way because to finish top 20 and have his worst performance with his putter and his irons combined in an event is impressive. It's impressive, right? If he can get his iron game back and his putter back, and he has a couple of top 10 finishes here in the last 3 years, I mean, he can win this event, right? So I'm just hoping that maybe it was just a little bit of rust and not his wife. That's what I'm hoping. Another thing about here is I'm not going the betting without Scotty this week. I'm going to go ahead and do the normal bets. I mean, this guy's played this event like 6 times. And he hasn't, I think his first time playing here was his
top
bets.
10.
Was
the only top 10 he's ever had.
Does that mean he can't win? No, of course. He could definitely fucking win. But that's enough for me to not do the betting without Scotty market. So these are all with Scotty. We're going with it this week. Next, it's going to be Sam Burns, 35-1 with 3 places. Okay, I've been playing his ass off at the end of the year. 8 top 20s in his last 12 events. His putter can spike with the best of them, right? And, this is a goddamn putting contest like fucking John Rahm said. He's gained 8 strokes or more with the putter 3 times in his last 13 events. He's also gained over 4.5 with his putter in 7 of those 13 events. Iron game very strong since Memorial last year. He's had a couple of top 6 finishes in his career here. So we're going to go Sam Burns, 35-1 with 3 places. Next, it's going to be Giuseppe Straka, 50-1 with 3 places. Look, proven winner, defending champ, ranked 6th in my model, and 50-1. I'm going to go ahead and take that. I'm going to go ahead and take that. You don't get that on Bet365. Bet365 is goes 3 places each way and inflates the odds when you go 3 places. So I'm going to go 50-1 for Sepp Straka. Everyone else,
course fit.
What's up? Yep.
Everyone
else is triple-digit odds for me. And I'm actually only using 5.8 units out of the 7 that I normally use. So I have some room to either add someone like a burger or wait to live. But I have 5 bets, 100-1 or greater. First, it's going to be Jacob Bridgman. 4 top 20s in his last 8 events, including 2 top 5s. People forget this guy was in the Tour Championship. Like, he was one of the best 30 golfers on the PGA Tour last season, right? Iron and short game looked really strong last week. Makes a ton of birdies. Great putter. 39th his first time here. 21st last year. So I like the upward progression. His second, so I'm hoping for another jump by Bridgman. Next, it's going to be Lee Hodges, 125-1, 8th place. Has a 3rd place here in his past, 6th place last year. Most of his damage was done by the putter last year. I know when you see that, a lot of the times people steer away from that. But this could be a putting contest, right? So I'm hoping that putter just stays hot, right? Is what I'm hoping. It stays hot and it keeps him going at 125-1 with 8 places. Next, Nick Dunlop, 125-1, 8 places. Iron game looked fucking ridiculous at some points last week. Former winner here, of course, worth a flyer, in my opinion, at 125-1. Jesper Svensson, 160-1, 8 places. 4 top 20s in his last 6 events. 3rd in birdie or better percentage in his last 50 rounds in this field. So I'll take a little risk at 160-1. Next, it's going to be Bud Cauley, 180-1 with 8 places. Really good on Pete Dye courses. 6th at last year's Players, 4th in approach, 10th in strokes gained tee to green in the last 50 Pete Dye course rounds in this field. Also, supreme birdie maker. So I like Bud Cauley at 180-1, 8th place. So large card, but I still have over a unit left in my budget. So Ben Griffin, 19-1, win only. Sam Burns, 35-1, 3 places. Sepp Straka, 50-1, 3 places. Jacob Bridgman, 100-1, 8 places. Lee Hodges, 125-1, 8 places. Nick Dunlop, 125-1, 8 places. Jesper Svensson, 160-1, 8 places. Bud Cauley, 180-1, 8 places. So again,
how many guys is that, Kenny?
What's up?
How many guys is that?
8.
8.
So the strategy here, of course, is, we've seen some bigger names win in the last couple of years. There's a lot of, top-notch guys here. So I went with 3 of those guys that I liked with Griffin, Burns, and Straka, all in the top 10. Best or lowest odds in the betting market, and then five long shot flyers. And then I'll either add to it before Thursday or I'll save it for live betting. Make sure you follow me on X at KendoVT to see my final card Wednesday afternoon.
Let's go. Make sure you are following Kenny on there. Some hilarious stuff he posts out there. Some good information as well. Just an overall good follow at KendoVT on X. Go check me out at The Model Maniac as well. While you are doing that, I have got all my stuff over there for you guys. Some free information too. I share a lot of my screenshots and crap out there for you. First bet off the card. I'm going to kind of overlap a couple things with Kenny. I think you went with Nick Dunlap, right, Kenny? So we're going to go with Nick Dunlap as well. 140-1. I think the problem with Nick Dunlap is he looks like this. He looks like Kenny when he stands on the tee because shit gets blurry. It doesn't make any sense. It's a total hit and miss situation. But I think it's really got to do with the fact that he's got confidence issues because he was completely fine for the first 2 rounds. He was losing a bit of strokes off the tee like a normal human. Saturday, featured group, all of a sudden, loses 5.5 strokes off the tee. Completely forgets what to do. He was doing completely fine. The irons look fantastic because he's always gaining strokes from the rough. He's exceptionally good out of the rough because he's been coming out of the rough all the time. So I think from a mental standpoint, showing back to familiar fairways on the courses that he's won at before could potentially help. And I don't think the driving around this golf course is as penal as Hawaii. There are some issues that you can find yourself in, but for the most part, it's kind of stress-free off the tee, which I think gives Nick Dunlap a lot of problems. So we'll see what he can do. 140-1, crazy number. Who else did you mention, Kenny? Jacob Bridgman at 100-1. If you think about what this man got up to, I was kind of just, all of these bets I'm going to be rattling off, probably all played at the Sony for the most part. So Jacob Bridgman just finished top 5 at the Sony. He was cooking with gas. I think there was a lot to like about what he was getting up to. 4th at the Sony, and that was incredible finishes there. And he's got 2 top 40s at this golf course in the past. So 100-1 for a guy that we've seen really get hot with the putter in particular. Let's go to Jacob Bridgman, like you mentioned. And then we're going to keep cruising down the board here. I'm going to go from odds of lowest to highest. Siwoo Kim, 50-1. If we take a look at what Siwoo Kim's been up to, I'll pull up my screen here for you guys to see what my little write-up looks like for him in the Discord. There's lots of stars because I went with Siwoo Kim in his last couple finishes. 11th at the Sony, 3rd at the Australian Open, 4th at the RSM, 21st at the Genesis, 20th at the Bay Current, 5th at the BMW PGA Championship. It's just non-stop top 20s at this like recent form stop of his. Very nice to see. Then you go over to this golf course where he's had an 11th, 22nd, 25th, and a win at this golf course. So he's coming in with some seriously hard form. At one point, I think Siwoo Kim in round 1 was 4 over par at the Sony and then finished 11th. You know, like the cut was -1 and it was hard to get under par. So he found himself in trouble and then just found his groove. So, you know, that T11 without a couple bad holes early on could have been way different. So we'll see what Siwoo Kim can get up to at 50-1. Big fan of him. Typically, I don't like the lack of upside he produces, but, you know, the form is just too good and the course history there is Gucci Mama. Then I'm going to go with Ryan Gerard, another name that really is just playing some sensational golf right now. He lost 2.5 strokes putting in round 1, Kenny, but still gained 3.5 strokes putting in rounds 2, 3, and 4. This goes along with how sensational he is as a ball striker. I think Ryan Gerard is one of the elite premier ball strikers on the PGA Tour, and we are looking at a 2nd place finish at the Mauritius Open when he went and secured his Masters berth over there, and then finished 2nd last week at the Sony. I was worried about him. He had a approach shot from the middle of the par 5 fairway to try and make an eagle and force a playoff, and he never managed to get it done. But I love the 100-1 number on a guy that's got back-to-back 2nd place finishes in his last 2 starts. Hello, let's go. Give me all of that. Sign me up for Ryan Gerard. Then we're going to start getting some crazy numbers. Patrick Rodgers at 140-1. I gushed about Patrick Rodgers earlier already, spoke about how good of a putter he is. Reasonable form at this golf course, but the form entering the week is what I'm really looking at for 140-1. The putter looked really good despite not showing the stats. We were watching golf. You can see with your eyes. Sometimes the numbers don't tell you that. So that's Patrick Rodgers for you. Andrew Novak at 150-1 over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Maybe these numbers aren't out there anymore. Obviously posted these in the Patreon. If there's anything I can promise you, you're going to be getting closing line value if you get those bets in the Model Maniac Patreon. That's just kind of what I get up to. So Andrew Novak, 150-1. He's just been playing far too good to be priced that price. He's one of the better top 20 performers in the PGA Tour. So give me old Andrew Novak, 150-1. We're also going to be going with a top 20 at plus 490 for Andrew Novak because he has been one of the better top 20 performers. Like I mentioned, if I pull up my screen for y'all, we can quickly take a peek here because Andrew Novak's got some fun stuff going on. I'm going to pull up his metrics here in the betting analysis tool. Andrew Novak, if I can find his name. And in 2025, if you take a look at his top 20 metrics, he's returned you over $440, betting to win $100 every single time you bet a top 20 bet for Andrew Novak. Cash at the RSM, cash at the FedEx St. Jude, cash at the Scottish Open. Those are his last 3 in the last 6. So he's doing it 50% of the time. In fact, he's actually doing it more. And I am thrilled about Andrew Novak's ability at 5-1 to finish inside the top 20. Let's go. So I think that's a very fair number. Moving along to some more bets. This is a bit of a marathon, Kenny. When you make these bets, you don't think about having to present them to all the people out there. But we appreciate you guys listening to this information. It's also DFS. So these are kind of DFS plays as we're cruising because the salary and the odds are kind of correlated in a way.
I mean,
so
it's better than just saying a number and a name and then not explaining why. Go ahead, do your thing, brother.
let's fucking go. That's what you get over here. We are degenerates. We give you the information. We give you the reasoning why. When we're taking a look at other names that are very, very impressive over the last little while, Michael Brennan, 250 to 1 at a golf course like this, where you're just going to be booming drives everywhere you want, making as many putts as you possibly can. We just saw this man do it at the Utah Bank.
He looked horrible
on the
last week, though, right?
It's Sony, yes. And it was only round one that he looked poor. If he played okay, we're not getting a 250 to 1. It was only round one, played like shit. It is what it is. Maybe he had some bad sushi, ate some bad Hawaiian chicken. I don't know. Hawaii is not, it's on an island there. Nothing is, anyway. But Michael Brennan.
You're not getting fresh seafood on an island. Something's wrong there, brother.
Well, it's the stuff that has to come in, from America is also not growing on the island. You know what I'm saying? So there's fresh dish, I digress, Kenny. It's not important here. I'm not talking about the agricultural economy of Hawaii. We're talking about Michael Brennan having won 4 times in the last 6 months. 3 of them on the Latin America's PGA Tour. Sure, 1 on the fall swing. You can only win the tournaments you're playing in, baby. And he won those bad boys. He's got immense upside. Not worried about the 1 round. It was literally just the 1 round. I think he gained a stroke in round 2 at the Sony. So missed the cut, obviously, because he was like 5 over par. But it is what it is. So Michael Brennan, perennial winner. 250 to 1. You're getting Michael Brennan at 40 to 1 for a top 5 this week, when I think he was 40 to 1 for the Bay Current. He was 33 to 1. I was betting him at the Bay Current at 33 to 1. He's top 40 right now. Is 40 to 1. So, that's bananas. Then we're going to take a look at S.H. Kim. When you look at recent performances on the Japanese tour, when you take a look at the Corn Ferry Tour, we are looking at 5 consecutive top 20 finishes for those. And then he still finished inside the top 20. I think he finished 13th at the Sony. He's a very, very good putter. Not the greatest when it comes to ball striking, but he's 350 to 1. I think there's a 400 or 600 to 1 at FanDuel. There's a 600 to 1 at FanDuel for this guy. One of the best putters in the PGA. Just finished 13th at the Sony. So 600 to 1. That's insane. You put down $10, you're making like what, $6,000? So no, you're making $6,000.
Yeah, $6,000. Yeah.
That's bananas, boys. Like, what are we really doing over there? And then my favorite bet of them all, I saved this for last, Tom Hoge, 600 to 1 to win the Amex. I've also gone ahead and put some ladders in. Those numbers are obviously new, but I bet the top 5, top 10, top 20, because you're getting a Tom Hoge top 20 at 13 to 1 around a golf course where Tom Hoge's actually finished 29th, 17th, 32nd, 2nd, and 6th in his last 6. So there's a miscut involved there too, but those are some really impressive top-end finishes. And we've always spoken about how the new season begins, Kenny. Some guys with long-term baselines that kind of lost their way maybe in 2025 after a reset in the off-season show back up and start playing the golf that they've always played on the PGA Tour. I'm hopeful that could be Tom Hoge's path, right? Because a nice little reset. At one point, he was sitting 20th on the PGA Sony Open leaderboard. So he was right in the mix there. And now we go to a venue that he's had great success at. So Tom Hoge, let's go. 600 to 1. Numbers are nuts up. 600 to 1 is just like nuts. I'd imagine it should just be like 150 to 1 or something. Like, why are you just making it like an absurd 6 to 1? Go smash those numbers. Make these people pay. Go ahead. Also, all of those bets are with the top 5. I found either the best number at FanDuel or DraftKings. I do not have access to each ways as much as I would like anymore since Bet365 shut me down. So it is what it is. But those are them. I'll put it on the screen for you guys real quick just so you can see all the different bets that we went through, just so that it's just a nice little visual for you guys. Where is the buttons? Here they are. Siwoo Kim, 50 to 1. Patrick Rogers, 140 to 1. Nick Dunlap, 180 to 1. Tom Hoge, 600 to 1 at FanDuel. Jacob Bridgman, 100 to 1. Andrew Novak, 150 to 1. Ryan Gerard, 100 to 1. Michael Brennan, 250 to 1. S.H. Kim, 350 to 1 over there. Now, I only have 9 guys, Kenny, because what I decided with outrights this year was, instead of betting to just win the 10 units, I took a lot from Cristobal del Sol. There's a hair that is driving me absolutely nuts, and it's just floating in my vision. But what I was looking for, like Cristobal del Solar, when we had that 100-unit play last year, when there's a 350 to 1 out there, take advantage of that stuff. So what I've decided is I'm going to have a minimum bet. No matter what the odds are, I'm still going to just say, okay, am I cool placing 1/10 of a unit on this bet? So at max, I only have 10 bets that I can place at 1/10 of a unit. So I'm not just spamming random numbers that are massive. I'm actually deciding, okay, this is what I like. And as a result, if you bet 1/10 of a unit on Tom Hoagie at 500 to 1, you can have a 50-unit score. You know what I'm saying? So you're finding that exponential value on the higher odds side of things. But I'm assuming this is making Kenny really tired speaking about. So we're going to move on to this week's Blood, Sweat, and DFS tiers for the American Express. Kenny Kim, who are we liking at the top of the board with Scotty Scheffler priced at a whopping $14,200, leaves you roughly $7,100 for your remaining 5 golfers in your roster.
Ben Griffin is my first cash game cornerstone at 10,200. Talked about him in the betting segment. He's had a couple of top 6s, top 10s here. The way he played last week wasn't great, but he still finished top 20. So I'm going to go with Ben Griffin as my first cash game cornerstone. I'm going to fade Scotty this week. No Scotty Scheffler for me. Again, talked about that earlier. This is one course where he's played 5 or 6 times. I don't even think he has a top 5, right? Now, does that say he can't win? No. But at $14,200, you basically need a win when everyone else is $4,000 less than him for him to pay off. And so while I would not be shocked if it happened, this is the week that I'll go ahead and fade him. Usually, like a lot of the times when it comes to, Scotty, when he's playing like an event that he's really played well at before, I just bite the bullet and I'll play him in like either in cash or like the $100 single entry. Not this time. But I'm intrigued about Oberg because Cantley's history here is really, really solid. People are going to play Scotty. Griffin has been, pretty popular play throughout for a while, right? Sam Burns seems to be the chalk, right? Is Oberg going to be the one that's going to be, sort of squeezed out when it comes to ownership? If it is, it could be worth playing Oberg. Who do you like in the 10K range?
Yeah, I don't mind Ludwig at all in the 10K range. In fact, there's a good chance I start a couple lineups. I'll also be just playing 3 Kenny with Russell Henley at $9,600. I think he grades out fantastic. For me, the top of this 10K range, I mean, Ben Griffin, again, it's like he's very consistent and he obviously won 3 times last year. But at a course like this with a lot of wedges, I don't fancy his upside as much. I mean, he got to the top of the leaderboard early on Sony, but that was mainly to do with, some good chipping and putting early on. Then the course's demands, of good wedge play kind of kicked his butt a little bit. And again, we're going to see that here this week. There's a lot of short shots that he's going to have to deal with that he's not necessarily the greatest from. Like Memorial, long ass Torrey Pines golf courses where it's driver, long iron. That's Ben Griffin's wheelhouse.
What I'll say to that is he finished 7th and 9th in the last 2 times he played here, and that was not the Ben Griffin that we know now. That is not the Ben Griffin that we know now. And he's had back top 10s at this course. So I think in cash, I have no problem with it. And I don't even know how popular he'll be in GPPs. Maybe Oberg will be the one who gets a little bit of steam. Ben Griffin gets drawn down because, again, like I said, it's the first time in the last 25 events, the worst putting and worst iron round that he's had in the last 25 events. And I'm just sort of procuring that to rust, right? Having your honeymoon, having your marriage, your wedding, less than a month before the tournament, and then going in and being a little rusty could be normal. And so I'm hoping his iron game gets back to fruition, at least gain some strokes. And if the rest of his, and he does that with the putter as well, I mean, the guy's going to finish top 10. But I understand your sentiment on that.
Yeah, he grades out 5th for me. So nothing too crazy. It's fine. Like we are nitpicking. We have to pick between Scotty Scheffler, Ludwig Oberg, Ben Griffin, Sam Burns, Russell Henley, Matt Fitzpatrick, Robert McIntyre in the goddamn American Express, people. Let's take a second to just be appreciative of what this new kind of schedule and calendar is providing us with. There's a lot of guys that are showing up here for the first time. Fitz, Ludwig, all having showed up here never before in the last 5 years, are playing this week because the new schedule demands so. And maybe the Century got rid of a start for them that they usually do. But whatever. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great week. I'll be leaning into Ludwig with you at the top there, Kenny. Again, when it comes to Scotty Scheffler, if you are playing him, it's interesting. Or let me go with if you are not playing Scotty Scheffler. Because when I play not Scotty Scheffler, I tend to lean into single entries where the contest size is significantly smaller. So the combinations that are available to be made with the 5 remaining guys at $7,100 along with Scotty Scheffler, the likelihood that someone finds all 5 of those guys to match up perfect with Scotty in a small contest, it's not as easy to do. Whereas a big GPP, if you've got 150 lineups and the guy's locking Scotty Scheffler in and rotating in as many different combinations around him, there's a good chance he potentially finds the winner if Scheffler does end up winning this tournament. So just kind of choosing the contest you are in and the type of roster that you construct by going into that contest can make a difference. I don't know if this is like legit 100% going to like work out for you, but it's something that I've always considered when it comes to Scotty Scheffler, especially with him being so expensive. So it'll be interesting. In the $9,000 range, a lot more names that I'm willing to click. We've got Russell Henley over here. I've spoken about him, grading out second for me in my model. I will be starting lineups with him. Russell Henley, Sepp Straka, $96, $93, $9,200. Let's go, baby. Those are names that make a lot of sense at this venue. Throw some Sam Burns in there as well if you're in the mood. Tons of good course history for all of these guys. Sepp, obviously the winner here. Russell Henley's got a 14th back in 2022. We'll see what happens. Matty Fitz, playing some of the greatest golf he's played in a long time, Kenny. I think if he brings that over again at $9,500, it makes a ton of sense. So I'm liking a lot of names in this 9K range, to be honest with you. So I may not even play anybody in the 10s.
It's possible that I do the same with you. My second cash game cornerstone is going to be Sam Burns. Again, talked about him during the betting segment. 8 top 20s in his last 12 events. His putter can spike 3 8+ strokes gain events with the putter in his last 13, 7, 4.5 strokes gain putting in his last 13 events. Decent strong. He has a couple of top 6 finishes here. Burns is going to be my second cash game cornerstone. I do like Sepp Straka, proven winner, defending champion, 6 in my model. I like Sepp. And I'm going to play one of Bobby Mack or Fitzpatrick. I'm going to play one of the two. I'm leaning Fitzpatrick right now, but if he's like super heavily owned, we saw Bobby last week play an event where the only time he's played, he's missed the cut. I think it's kept his ownership a little bit down, and I think this is the only time he's played this. He's missed the cut. Again, he's better player now. We'll see which direction I go. But I'm going to be playing one of the two, Fitzy or Bobby Mack.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense. Again, all really good options in this $9,000 range if you're looking to save some cash. Kenny, what do you think Scotty Scheffler's ownership's going to be? Like if you were to guess, like 10, 15%?
Oh, no, I would still expect it to be 25 to 30.
At $14,200?
Okay. I would expect so. Maybe 20 to 25. I think maybe it would be safe. But I think people are going to click him. He's honestly doing shit now that the only person that's ever we've seen in our lifetime to do this type of shit is Tiger.
Yeah. But there's a price for perfection.
What would Tiger be when he played if there was DFS and in his prime? He would have to be 16,000, right? Like he would just have to be.
Yeah.
Because
has Tiger not finished inside the top 10 at this golf course in the last 4 years?
Who? Scheffler? Yeah. Well, yeah, but I think people are still going to click his name.
Yeah, I know. It's just I'm trying to think of reasons why people would justify not clicking his name at $14,200. So it's just an interesting concept, especially with like some really good course history options below. I think you obviously cannot. If you want Sam Burns, you can't click Scotty Scheffler. You know, like your lineup is going to be nightmarish if you're going Scotty, Sam. I don't know if you can even do it. So, like, if you want those names, you got to not click Scotty Scheffler. I think it'll be easier to click. I don't know. I'm expecting his ownership to be somewhere in the teens, but 14.2 again is very, 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 very expensive to go with a guy there. In the $8,000 range, Kenny, we've got guys like Alex Noren. We've got guys like Jason Day, Ricky Fowler, Rasmus Højgaard, Michael Thorbjornsen, some other names amidst there. Anybody catching your fancy not named Alex Noren in the $8,000 range, Kenny?
I like Thorb. I like Thorb at 8,800. I think he is.
Michael Thorbjornsen, $8,600.
He's sick. The iron game strong. Tee to green very good. Makes a lot of birdies. Plays par fives well. I'll go ahead and take. I like Thorb. In this 8K range, I like Noren. A little bit above him. I'm guessing you're a fan. I'll let you talk about him. And then maybe some guy who's gonna take not get that good of a look. Jason Day at 8,100 tends to always make the cut at this course. He doesn't seem to be a very popular play ever anymore. So it could be used in a game theory perspective. Maybe he gets top 10 out here on a course that he loves.
Finished third year last year. Jason Day, $8,100. So absolutely a low-owned alternative if you are looking for one in the $8,000 range. Alex Noren, if you take a look at his finishes across the world in the last 12 months and the Sony, which he didn't even play, 24% of the time he's finishing inside the top 5. That is like bananas good. If you filter by top 5 finishes in this field, Scotty Scheffler, 62% of the time is bananas. Russell Henley, 25%. Alex Noren, 24%. So that is some high-end output that you're getting from a guy that's quite affordable at the price that he is at $8,800. I got him ranked 9th in the model. He's, 11th in the micro course fit, all that kind of stuff. Has a second place finish in his last couple starts. There's a lot to like about Alex Noren. I do agree with you, Kenny. Jason Day is very interesting. Seriously good course history here, like from a consistency perspective. And at $8,100, it's not the worst thing. You're not looking for the absolute winner here. You probably clicked 2 or 3 names by now already that should be winning for you. If J Day finishes third again, that's Gucci Mama. So I'm all about Jason Day this week. If you are looking for some immense leverage, I think he'll be low end, like Kenny mentioned. But I prefer options in the $7,000 range with the names like Justin Rose at $7,900. If you're looking for a boom or bust guy, Rosie is that man. We are just looking at insane upside here. We've got obviously a 5% win rate. He won the FedEx St. Jude, sitting inside the top 10, basically 3 of every 10 starts, inside the top 50 every other start. So Justin Rose at $7,900 checks out as the 4th best course fit for me. $7,900. People are scared to play Justin Rose as well. He burns people a lot. Very inconsistent guy. 26th, 33rd at this golf course in the last 2 starts he played here in 2023 and 2022. I like Justin Rose. I think he's someone I'm eyeing out, along with Daniel Berger in this range and Kevin Yu. Spoken about those guys a bit. Kevin Yu, great course fit in the micro model. So Kenny Kim in the 7s. Any names you in the mood for?
Yeah, Berger's going to be my 3rd cash game cornerstone. Again, another one of my bets that tends to happen pretty often. Or, actually, I cashed him out. I decided not to bet him, to leave myself a little bit open. But I do like Berger. Makes a whole bunch of cuts here. His ball striking was pretty solid last season. So I do like Berger as my 3rd cash game cornerstone. My final cash game cornerstone is going to be Jacob Bridgman at 7,500. Again, we talked about him during the betting segment. He's also going to be, Mike, go ahead and hit the music here. He is also going to be my hustler play of the week. I forgot to do that last week. We're bringing it back. So hustler play of the week, Jacob Bridgman, and my final cash game cornerstone. 4 top 20s in his last 8 events, including 2 top 5s. The guy was in the Tour Championship last year. Iron and short game was really good last week. Makes a shit ton of birdies. Great putter. 39th here his first time, 21st last time. So he's trending upwards. I do like Jacob Bridgman a whole bunch. He is my hustler play of the week and my cash game cornerstone. My cash game cornerstones for the week are going to be Ben Griffin at 10,200, Sam Burns at 9,800, Berger at 7,800, and Bridgman at 7,500. Those are going to be my cash game cornerstones for the week. Other guys that I do like in the 7K round, I think I'm going to take a flyer on Bhatia. I know he's missed every cut here, right? And I think that might keep his ownership down a little bit. But so that's what I'm hoping. But when it comes to him, his iron game has been so good. And he's making so many birdies here, and he's been crushing par fives. I don't know. I mean, maybe he hates pro-ams, and if he goes into this event the way he's playing and the way his stats look, and he shits the bed again, maybe we should just Steve Buscemi take his name off the list, for any event that's a pro-am, because I mean he should do well here. Is what I'm thinking. I don't know why he's missed the 3 cuts he has. I'm going to go back to him here in GPPs for Bhatia. And hopefully his ownership is down because everyone sees those 3 missed cuts. And they're like, I'm not going to play him. Maybe we can get lucky enough to get him in single digits. We'll see. But I do like him. Ryan Gerard, you talked about. He seems to make a lot of sense here. Alex Smalley, again, another guy with the unbelievable course history. You went over it. The most strokes gained, tee to green on the stadium course in the last 5-6 years here. So, that's somebody to look at that price. And I like, okay, so if Bridgman ends up being a little popular, my backup hustler play of the week would be Jesper Svensson at where is he at $7,100? Like I don't expect big ownership from him, like 5% or less, maybe, right? Top 20s in his last 6 events, 3rd in birdie percentage in the last 50 rounds. Give me a little bit of Jesper down here at 7,100. What about ADDC? I have a hard time pronouncing his name.
Yeah.
Is he in the 7K range or 6K?
How do we find his name? You just look for anything that doesn't fit in the box.
Oh, no,
he's $6,500. Adrian Dumont de Chart. It sounds like, a chart. And he did on Sunday or Saturday. I think either day that he was right in the mix, pooped it down his pants and kind of, I think, showed back up again on Sunday. But again, $6,500 makes a ton of sense at this golf course. And if you are looking at stats from the Korn Ferry Tour, I mean, he is inside the top 10, 1 in every 4 starts, 24% of the time for ADDC. So, hopefully we can go from ADDC to ACDC for him there with some high voltage golf. Kenny Kim, I will be looking at some names in the 6K range that sound like Gary Woodland. I'll be going back to him again at $6,900. I think a very similar situation as your hustler play of the week, Kenny. Not necessarily, you wouldn't think he fits a course like this, but he's checking the 29th, from a model ranking, he's 29th for me. I think there's some liking of the course history being number 12th in my micro model. He makes a ton of sense. So $6,900, stumbling over this Gary Woodland situation, yeah, but I'll be looking at him. And then some Daniel Brown, $6,700. If we take a look at what he got up to, I think he made the cut at the Sony. Yeah, no, he did not play the Sony, so he was out somewhere else. But I think he makes tons of sense as well. The first appearance from the DP World Tour on the PGA Tour, he's going to be finding his groove. And then I think that's going to be it for me. I'm going to start in the 9s and pretty much stay south or north of the 6K range, kind of just tinkering around with 7s.
You even go over who you like in the 7Ks?
Yeah, I mentioned I like Daniel Berger. I mentioned I like Justin Rose. I mentioned I like Kevin Yu. In particular, Kevin Yu is checking 3 boxes for me. So there's a lot. Actually, yeah, 3 boxes is a nice checkingness there for Kevin Yu. Finished 3rd year in 2024 as well. So if you're looking for a $7,600 play, he is my favorite play in the 7K range. So
6K range, I like Neil Shipley at $6,900. Again, another guy who wins a lot, right? On the Korn Ferry Tour, he won it 2 or 3 times, I think, this past season. He tends to win those events. Iron game above average, makes a lot of birdies. Really good at par 5s. You're going to have a shit ton of par 5s here. So I like Neil Shipley at $6,900. I like Luke Clanton. I know he hasn't been playing the best, but the guy, again, if he could stay away from the big number, I mean, he makes a ton of birdies out here. For a guy who's 2nd in the field in birdie or better percentage in the last 50 rounds in this field, is Luke Clanton. So I'll play him, and I like Bud Cauley a lot. Iron game strong, makes a lot of birdies. Average to a little bit below average putter. Really good on short par fours. You're going to see a good amount from 350 to 400 yards here. So I like Bud Cauley a lot. Down here in ADDC, like we talked about. Those are a few of my favorite 6K plays.
Yeah, let's go. I think that's how much time are you going to be spending in the 6Ks, Kenny? Think you're going to be reaching?
I don't know. I haven't really decided. I haven't made any lineups yet other than my cash, and I decided not to go into the 6K range for cash. So I went basically two, Ben Griffin and Burns, and I have right as of now I have 4 guys in the 7K range. We'll see if I adjust that. I haven't picked my final 2 plays for it yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like who are names that Scotty Scheffler lineups are going to be clicking, because there's no way they're not clicking a 6K name at least once or twice. I mean, you've got 71.60, I think, left over after clicking Scotty Scheffler. You have to go into the 6s. Who is like Bud Cauley going to be one of these guys that gets heavy steam? Is it going to be, who's played well lately? Maybe like some Patrick Rogers at $7,100, but that's $7,100. It's not saving you money. It's hard. It's hard. I think trying to figure out who the landmine is in the 6K range that's going to help you get out of jail with Scotty in your lineup is going to be interesting. So we'll monitor some ownership there. Speaking of ownership, Keegan Bradley did not work out for me in the one and done last week. Kenny was playing fine. Driving, he was gaining more strokes than anyone in the field before he missed the cut. And just fucked up the par 3 somehow. Like sometimes that just happens. Took the L, but again, no one really had got her up that much. So I am going to be leaning Sam Burns this week, Kenny.
Yeah, I don't trust him. Meisner. You want to go in Sam Burns? I went Decky and Meisner last week. They're fine. They made the cut. I think Decky finished like the top 15 or something like that. It wasn't horrible. So not the worst way to start the season. I think I'm going Bridgman and Siwoo, but we'll see. It's not official, but those are the 2 that I'm thinking. A little Bridgman Siwoo action to go ahead and do this, because with the in 2 weeks we have the Pro-Am, so that's gonna be our first Siggy, trying to save all the big dogs for the Siggies.
Yeah, I was very tempted to go Patrick Cantley this week, considering how consistent he has been here. I may go with him at the Genesis, to be honest with you, where he's had I think 3 consecutive top 5s at that golf course. So I'm going to holster him.
I don't really look ahead except for Scotty and Rory.
Well, yeah. The thing is I was trying to decide between him and Burns and even Ben Griffin, to be honest with you. Ben Griffin's got some a crazy course history at this venue. But trying to figure out, okay, if I use him here, can I use Burns at the Valspar? Do I even want to use him at the Valspar? Can I use somebody else? I was also contemplating Tom Hoagie, Kenny. I mean, this week, of all weeks...
You don't have to do that.
You know what I'm saying? Don't be cute.
The odds of him actually hitting and getting a top 20 are so low. If you get it, great.
13-1.
But no, I would not waste 1 and done picks, because there's only 44 events.
Yeah. Exactly.
Why would you roster someone who's 600 to 1 to 1 and done?
I just said that I was contemplating.
All you're winning is $1.8 million. Right? If you're gonna do that in the betting aspect. You're only getting 1.8 million points when Siggy events pay 3.54. Right?
Yes.
Or I mean, and the odds of you actually getting that amount with a 600 to 1 shot is impossible, because what 600 to 1 person has ever won an event?
Well, he's down to 150 to 1 now. He was the wrong price. So, okay, first of all. And second of all, I told you who I am playing. You just shat me out like I was playing Tom Hoagie. I was saying I needed a compliment there to have avoided him and go with stop being cute and just go with the obvious situation.
That's what the fuck I just said.
Yeah, I know. But I just felt like I was in trouble there for a second after telling you how proud I was of myself for making good decisions. So anyway, Slider Cup, Kenny, good luck this week with your internationals. Don't forget to comment below who's going to win this week. You can comment the same name as somebody else one more time. There's only 2 names that I will be accepting for the 2 free memberships at my Model Maniac Patreon. Below, if 2 people have submitted Scotty Scheffler already before you comment, and you comment the 3rd time for Scotty Scheffler, not taking that into account if he wins because 2 people are there already. So go ahead and let people know that you love the Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, check out the Model Maniac Patreon. Follow me at the Model Maniac on X. Kendo Kim, take us the hell out of here, and let's have a banger of a remaining 2026 at the Amex.
You can find me on X at KendoVT. My final betting card, any stuff golf related, all that stuff will be on there. Any live bets I'll have on the weekend because I am under my budget for the week. So there'll probably be some live bets or some adjustments to my main card. So make sure you follow me on X. First event in California, pretty good field. Should be a fun watch. Let's win some motherfucking money. Degen Nation.